The story of Malik Nabers right now is not about highlight reel catches, dazzling route running, or the kind of explosive plays that made him the 6th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. It's about a young man in the middle of one of the most grueling, uncertain, and emotionally draining recoveries a professional athlete can face. At just 22 years old, Nabers is deep in the grind of rehabbing from a torn ACL and torn meniscus in his right knee, injuries that ended his 2025 season after only 4 games. And now, months later, his path back to the field is more complicated than anyone, himself, the Giants, or the fans, ever expected. What makes this story so heavy is not just the injury itself, but the cascade of setbacks that have followed. Nabers tore his ACL in Week 4 of the 2025 season against the Los Angeles Chargers, a devastating moment that came just as he was starting to show why he was considered one of the most electrifying young receivers in the NFL. He underwent his first surgery in late October, a procedure that included a full meniscus repair, and for a while, there was cautious optimism that he would be on track to return sometime during the 2026 season, maybe even by training camp. But then, this offseason, a second surgery became necessary. It was not planned. It was not expected. It was a cleanup procedure to address scar tissue and stiffness that had developed after the first operation, a complication that has thrown his entire timeline into serious doubt. ESPN insider Adam Schefter has been clear about how worrying this situation has become. He called the second knee surgery complicated, said the Giants are unsure if Nabers will be ready for opening day, and warned that his status for the Week 1 Sunday night football game against the Dallas Cowboys is very much up in the air. Schefter even said, "I just don't like the way that any of this sounds," and added that at this point, it would be more unlikely that he would play in that game than it is likely. That kind of language from someone who follows the NFL closely carries weight, and it has sent a ripple of anxiety through Giants country, where fans are already bracing for a difficult season without their star receiver. Giants head coach John Harbaugh has not sugarcoated things either. During OTAs, when asked about Nabers' progress, Harbaugh described him as being in the slog of it, the grind of it, and said it was impossible to predict a return timeline. The stated goal is for Nabers to be ready to start the season and get on the field at some point during training camp, but even that is far from guaranteed. What Harbaugh did offer was a quiet reassurance. He said Nabers is fighting hard every day, that he is with the team during rehab, and that both the trainers and the medical staff are doing their jobs. "He'll be back," Harbaugh said. But the win remains the uncomfortable question hanging over New York's entire offensive outlook heading into 2026. For Nabers himself, this has been a brutal test of patience, identity, and mental strength. He is only 22, already one of the most promising wide receivers in the league, and he was on track to be the best in football. Instead, he's stuck in a recovery process that feels endless, one where every small step forward can be undone by a new complication. Videos of him moving around during rehab have surfaced online, showing him still looking stiff and not fully explosive during workouts, with many fans zooming in on the way he plants and changes direction and saying he doesn't look 100% yet. The concern got even louder after reports revealed he underwent a second knee procedure this offseason, and Nabers himself admitted he's not really sure if he'll be ready for Week 1, which only fueled the conversation. The emotional weight of this situation is not lost on anyone who follows the Giants. Nabers was supposed to be the anchor of their offense, the player around whom the entire passing game was built. Instead, the team is now grappling with the possibility that they may have to start the season without their number 1 receiver, and that uncertainty clouds the outlook for quarterback Jackson Dart and the entire offense. The idea of re-signing veteran Odell Beckham Jr. This offseason was even floated again, not as a fun nostalgia move, but as a genuine possibility if Nabers takes longer than expected to recover. That alone speaks to how serious the situation has become. The Giants are preparing for the real chance that their young star will not be ready when the season kicks off. Yet, through all of this, there is still a thread of hope. The Giants remain hopeful that Nabers will be ready for Week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys, per ESPN, and the fact that the season opener is still 3 months away means there is still time for things to change. Plenty could happen over that stretch. Nabers could make more progress, the scar tissue could soften, the stiffness could ease, and his knee could respond better to rehab than it has so far. The only real positive aspect about any and all Nabers-related updates from a Giants point of view is that the team's season opener is still 3 months away, and that window gives him a fighting chance to get back on the field. For fans, this is a story about more than just one player's injury. It's about the fragility of young careers, the brutal reality of sports medicine, and the way a single injury can reshape an entire season. It's about watching a player who is supposed to be a cornerstone of the franchise struggle to even confirm if he'll be ready for Week 1. And it's about holding on to hope even when the updates keep getting worse. Nabers is still fighting, still in the grind, still doing everything he can to get back as soon as possible. But the truth is, you can't be encouraged right now with where he's at. If you've been following Malik Nabers' journey, if you've been worried about his knee, or if you've been moved by the way he's handled this difficult rehabilitation, take a moment to acknowledge his effort and his resilience. Please like this video, and if you enjoy updates and stories about the injuries, comebacks, and struggles of the athletes we follow, consider subscribing to this channel. Together, we can keep watching, keep hoping, and keep supporting players like Malik Nabers as they fight their way back, one day at a time.